happening in South Africa right now is being described in completely different ways. Some call it protest, some call it frustration, and others are calling it something far more serious. But the real question is, what is actually going on?
Something big is happening in South Africa right now. Huge crowds stormed through streets and cities across the country, which some media outlets like Sky News described as a war on foreigners.
It feels like a witch hunt. They keep pointing out people that they think may be foreign and then attacking them. We just saw a man get tasered on the side of the street.
In fact, African migrant shop owners were warned by police to close down ahead of these anti-illegal immigration protests out of precaution for their safety. So, what the hell is going on? Protesters say that foreigners from other African countries are taking away jobs, healthcare, housing, and businesses from the locals.
I'm unemployed. There's no employment. I can't find anything.
Now we are focusing on the illegal foreign nationals.
But it's not only around jobs and the economy. Local media report that earlier this month, a 27-year-old shop owner went missing amid concerns that his alleged refusal to sell his business to foreign nationals may have led to his disappearance. This triggered outrage and has caused the illegal immigration issue in the country to reach its boiling point. And now even the United Nations is calling for calm. Critics are calling this a xenophobic movement, while supporters say this isn't about discrimination, but about protecting their country. So, as always, what do you guys think?
That's the image many people are seeing right now. Crowds in the streets, tension rising, foreign-owned businesses closing, and reports of people being targeted. Now, depending on who you listen to, this is being framed in two very different ways. On one side, it's being described as a crackdown on illegal immigration. On the other, it's being described as xenophobia. But here's where it gets more complicated, because not everyone in South Africa agrees with that narrative.
Contrary to what you're seeing on the media, South Africans are not xenophobic. Contrary to what you're seeing in the media. Now, that statement sounds a blasty statement, especially because of some of the things you would have seen online. I'm not saying that there are no xenophobic people in South Africa. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying the entire nation is xenophobic would be missing the point. There are 65 million people in South Africa. We have 11 official languages. We're one of the most diverse societies in the world, and even though that is the case, we get along with most people. If you go and look at the largest companies in South Africa and the CEOs or boards of those companies, you will find that the CEOs or boards or C-suite executives are many people from the rest of Africa. So I think I felt that it was important for me to say that. The second point I want to make is this. I think that there is an agenda to turn us against each other. And I think we feed that agenda when we feed the noise and the fire. And so what I'd like to think we can do is to reach across the divide, have actual conversations, understand what's happening, as they say in Kenya, kwa ground, on the ground, so we can find each other.
Now that perspective is important because it reminds us of something often ignored. South Africa is one of the most diverse countries on the continent. Millions of people, multiple languages, and deep connections across Africa. So reducing the situation to one word, xenophobia, may not capture the full picture. Because when you listen closely, the frustration being expressed is not just about identity. It's about jobs, economic pressure, access to services, rising inequality. And when economic pressure rises, people often look for someone to blame. But then there's another narrative, a much more controversial one.
My brothers and sisters in South Africa, I want to urge you to stop blaming your brothers and sisters in Nigeria and from Zimbabwe for your hardships and for your economic woes and the problems facing your country. It is not the fault of your fellow African brothers. The problem that you encounter is caused by people who look like me, people who have this fair white skin. They are the cause of your problems, as they always have been. For it was white people who colonialized your land, it was white people who stole your resources, and it was your white people who enslaved you into a system of apartheid. So do not blame your brothers and sisters, but look to apportion the blame where it really lies. Now, this is not to demonize all white South Africans. And in my times in traveling in your country, I have recognized that things have changed and that the younger generations of people of European origin are nowhere near as bigoted as their fathers and their grandfathers. Things are changing and people do have more progressive attitudes. However, it is those people living on their farms who stole your land who are the problem, and not your Nigerian and Zimbabwean brothers and sisters.
Hello viewers. Hi Mr. President. You know, last time I was telling you that if you want to use your energy to pray, rather use it for Ghana. Because those people that you are having sleepless night praying for, listen to the comments they made about your praying for them. You are praying for them, and when you do fasting and prayer finish, you are sick. It is Ghana money, our poor money,
they'll say treat you.
Money that they'll use to take you abroad for hospital or anything. Listen to what they say. That's why you know that you are dealing with ungrateful beings.
We think will make Ghana, small Ghana, pity Nigeria, the giant of Africa. If not be saying a bad leadership, now they try crumple and insult and embarrass Nigeria as a country, we think will make small Ghana will be like grain of
So, Mr. President.
Now, this is where the conversation becomes more sensitive, because this perspective shifts the blame entirely away from internal tensions and toward historical and external factors. And while history does matter, colonialism, inequality, and structural imbalance are real. They do not fully explain what is happening today, because today's situation is shaped by multiple forces at once: economic realities, policy decisions, migration patterns, public perception, and yes, historical context. So, what we are really seeing is not just a protest, it is a pressure point, a moment where economic stress, social tension, and political narratives are all colliding at the same time. And when that happens, the story becomes bigger than any single explanation. This is not just about South Africa, it raises a bigger question for the entire continent. How do African nations handle internal pressure without turning against each other? Because at the end of the day, the challenge is not just identifying the problem, it's how it's addressed, with division or with understanding. If Africa's story matters to you, take a moment to like this video so more people can see it. Subscribe to Voice of Africa for balanced and thoughtful analysis. And tell me in the comments, do you think this is about immigration or something deeper?